Why did I move to Japan alone at 21? Why did I like Japan? That's easy. Naruto and, Japanese culture and kimono, of course. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Allison. I've been living in Japan for 6 years. This is the 6-year anniversary video. We do one every year and they all end up a little bit like this. A little over inspirational talkish, but what can you do? I have been sick for a month straight, and honestly, if you can hear a little strangeness in the voice, that's why. I'm still not healed. Okay, so today we are going to talk about why I moved to Japan at 21. We got Fido, we got Pikachu, the whole gang is here. Let's go. You could probably tell where I'm going with this just off of that. So when most people ask why I wanted to move to Japan, me, along with many other foreigners here, give this same canned response of, oh, I was really interested in the culture. I really like Japanese food. Something like that. For me, these are part of the reason, but they're definitely not the whole reason. But this is kind of perceived as being like the correct answer on the test of foreigners. If it's a short answer question, that's what you write. You interview for the JET program, which is a popular English teaching pathway. That's what you say in the interview. And that was my answer too for a long time, because the real answer is kind of embarrassing, or it's supposed to be. Maybe it was before, and now enough time has passed where Japan's cool now, right? And honestly, after a few years of living here, I got kind of tired of that because it wasn't really the reason I moved here at all. And why should I feel embarrassed to actually say my real reason? In short, I moved to Japan because I like anime. Of course, the real answer is a bit longer, more complicated. So let's start off with the brief lore dump, because it's not just anime. It's never just I liked anime, right? And then after, we're gonna move into the ultimate really why, and why I think you should or shouldn't. So let's go back in time to the age of Neopets, the age of Sonic. 2nd grade of elementary school, all I did with my friends was run around on the playground and pretend like we were Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails. I was Knuckles. At this time, I did not know Sonic was Japanese. I didn't really know what Japan was. It wasn't, I was like 7. I also played the games, Sonic Adventure 2 on GameCube. Very good game. And I'm starting here because really this is where it grew. Because I had the same like kind of friends, right? Up until 4th grade when we started to get into anime. And at the time this was Naruto, Cardcaptor Sakura, right? So that's where it started. And that was really my identity all the way up until college. Like 6th, 7th grade is when I really started to connect all of this stuff with like a place, a country. Because up until then it's just kind of like this cartoon you like. But when I first started to like actually deeply look at the country, this was like 9th, 10th grade. The context of the era is very important because this was early 2010s. So at this time I was reading like actual blogs of people who lived in Japan. I was watching very early J-vlogs, because this is really where all the information about like real Japan was. And one thing in particular that was very notable for me at the time was I would like go home and I would look through this person called Danny Chu. He makes like dolls, but I didn't care about the doll thing. I only cared about his Flickr album. Yes, Flickr. Like once or twice a week, he would upload a bunch of photos that he took just walking around Tokyo, living life here. And that's what I really liked. It was just very average scenery, like a stop sign or like just a building. But from looking at these things, I really got this image, this confidence in my head that like, okay, maybe I too could go and actually live there, because I did like all this stuff. Because I kept seeing, even back then online, where people would be like, anime is not real Japan. Yes. But it was like, okay, if I like this is like real Japan, then maybe I could like living there. Clearly here I am, so. So eventually I got over the cringe and the embarrassment that is asking my parents for literally anything. But yeah, basically in junior year of high school, I decided I want to study abroad. And I waited basically to the last minute. If you're watching this and you're thinking of studying abroad or working in Japan or whatever, it's earlier than you think. You need to apply earlier than you think. So anyways, it was winter break. The application for this program that I found was due 2 weeks maybe. But yeah, school was off. So basically my mom and I like rushed to gather the application materials, write a statement, blah, blah, blah. And also like 1 or 2 of my high school teachers agreed to write a letter of recommendation with like a 3-day notice over winter break. God bless them. Thank you and sorry. So I got in. I did it. To summarize, first 3 weeks-ish were very hard. I spoke zero Japanese. And there was a lot of culture shocks, obviously, because I was 16 and this was my first time doing this kind of thing on my own. away from my parents, let alone in a foreign country where nobody around me can really talk to me. Yeah, my host family were kind of like elderly-ish. They were very lovely people, but they could not speak any English at all. We communicated via like electronic dictionary that they got from their granddaughter. This was 2013, by the way, so it was like right before like the iPhone invasion. If you did this all today, it would definitely be easier. But then the last 3 weeks of the program, I started to get used to it. I started to really enjoy it. I started to really like it. I felt like I was connecting with the girls at school, even though, you know, we couldn't really talk that much at all because they didn't speak English. But I was learning a lot of Japanese very quickly because all I was doing all day at school was just studying Japanese. So anyways, here's a Facebook receipt I found from the last day, and it says, "Goodbye, Saga. It was fun." Past tense in Japanese. When I could not read a single character when I went over. Also, I don't really know how Facebook memories work, but a few days ago, I also saw a post that was like, "I don't want to go back to the US," or something like that. So what did I like about Japan when I couldn't even converse with people, really? I don't know, just everything. I know it's hard to really say it, but it's like the effort that everyone put into, I think, like looking after me and trying to make sure I had a good time, even though I was just some random person. Like even the girls at school, they couldn't speak English. They had no interest in English. You know, they really tried to talk to me. And this is very nice because, you know, I was 16. When you're 16, your self-confidence, you know, your mental state is very different, right? So it felt really good. But aside from that, I was like amazed by other things, like how even though we were really rural, they still had a train station. I could take a bus to like the city. You know, in America, I had no public transport in my town at all. It was also very clean. It was very convenient, even though it was rural. And honestly, I think it matched my expectations. This was very important. Like there were a lot of surprises, but because I did so much research ahead of time, even though it wasn't Tokyo, it wasn't like a huge shock. Also, I really liked anime, so even though we were rural, they still sold Shonen Jump at the convenience store. When we went to the mall, I'd see a bunch of anime stuff for sale, etc. It just felt like a really good environment for me. Okay, so before we go any further, I wanted to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, NordVPN. If you don't know already, NordVPN is a VPN service that protects your private and personal information so that you can connect to the internet safely. Now, I've been a loyal NordVPN user for many years now, and my favorite feature is not only does it protect your information while you browse the internet, but you can also change your IP address so you can connect to the internet from any place around the world almost. And this is great for people who want to watch geo-blocked content. Say you're moving to Japan and you want to keep watching English subbed anime. Get a VPN, you can watch Crunchyroll, because Crunchyroll's totally blocked here, by the way. Or you live in your home country, but you want to have access to almost every single media that exists on the internet. You can do that by connecting all these countries. You can watch Harry Potter, you can watch Ghibli, you could watch anything almost. You get the idea. So if you're interested in browsing the internet safely while also expanding your media library to access media from all over the globe, then try NordVPN out for yourself with a 30-day money-back guarantee, risk-free, by using my code nordvpn.com/AllisonInTokyo. With this, every purchase of a 2-year NordVPN plan will also get you 4 extra bonus months on top of that, and additionally up to a 20 gigabyte Saley data voucher. So thank you NordVPN for sponsoring today's video, and now let's get back to the whys. Now looking back, a lot of the things I liked about Japan are not necessarily like limited to Japan or even outside America, but for me at the time, I'd grown up in suburban Florida. I was 16 and desperately wanted to get out of there. Japan seemed like the ideal, the best country ever to me. So fast forward to college. I took all 4 classes. They only had 4. All 4 classes my university offered in Japanese. By the way, this level barely got me anywhere beyond the amount of Japanese that I learned in those 6 weeks studying abroad in high school. Ugh. But then I went on to study abroad again in Japan, this time at basically a language school. So yeah, I went to language school for 3 months. It was like 9 to 3 every day, I think. And it was located right outside of Tokyo in Chiba. It was like fine. I don't really recommend it, so I'm not gonna recommend it. But yeah, this was my first time living anywhere near a huge city. I'd spend the whole weekend in Tokyo, basically. So this got me over the fear of, what if I don't like living in a city? I did. So back to the US. Graduation is approaching. Honestly, I decided I was gonna do the JET program from year one. So if you don't know what it is, the JET program is basically a very popular English teaching pathway that gets people to Japan. It's the most reputable because it's a government run program and it also has like the best benefits. So side note, if you are interested in moving to Japan, I would look up an English teaching program. Does not have to be JET or a language school to get your foot into the door, because just getting here is the hardest part. What really solidified my decision to leave though was, if I imagine my life if I never left, living in suburban America, sitting in some random office doing Excel sheets or whatever, it sounded absolutely horrendous to me. Maybe I would have moved to New York. Maybe I'd be married right now if I'd stayed. I don't know. There's a lot of good maybes. You don't know. But there was a bad maybe that was basically certain. And that was that if I had just moved on with my life in the US without ever even trying to move to Japan, I would have regretted it every single day. Every day. I know it. By the way, I'm really not trying to discredit the office worker salary people. If anything, the older I get, the more value I see in this kind of stable career. But for me at 21, that was not it. And also at 21, I had no responsibilities. I had no assets, like no house, no car, really. No job. This was the time. I mean, I worked in an internship in my last year of college, right? And it was like in an office. It was a good internship. Don't get me wrong, but it scared me because it was comfortable. It was too comfortable. Like, I could totally see how anyone could just get so used to, so comfortable with living that kind of life. And once you're comfortable, once you build the life for yourself there, it's hard to leave. It gets harder with time. But I am a really big proponent of, you have to get out of your comfort zone if you want to really grow a lot. Like at 16, for me, that was going to Japan. That was doing that. That was crazy, right? And I changed so much because of that. I grew a lot. Trust me. If I had never done that, I don't know what kind of person I would be right now, honestly. Okay, so this kind of contradicts with what I just said, but another big reason that I wanted to move here was I felt really comfortable here. But you know, people always say like the honeymoon period, and you know, I was only living there for like short periods of time, so it wasn't really like living. So maybe my opinion would change after I lived here really long term. I don't know. But in America, I kind of always felt like a bit of an outsider, like I never really fit in. I still do. I do even more now, actually. But in Japan, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I found a community here, kind of. Maybe it's just because, I don't know. I think my personality just kind of fits life here better. I kind of like rules. I like cleanliness. I like quietness. I don't know, safe to say, you know, I moved here and here I am still 6 years later because I liked it. I still do feel comfortable. Actually, I'm wondering now if I'm too comfortable. But yeah, that's why, basically, fear of the average, I guess. I mean, don't get me wrong. I live a pretty average-ish life here, but I don't know. Doing it in Japan just feels very different. Okay, so I've said this before, but a lot of people ask me if I think that they should move to Japan. I can't answer this without literally knowing you and talking to you, right? But I can say this. Do you have the means to move to Japan? By this, I mean, do you have savings, or could you save from now? Could you get a visa? Could you find a job? Do you have responsibilities that you could walk away from, or at least walk away from in the future if you plan a bit? Like, do you have kids? Do you have a house? Do you have a dog? And maybe most importantly, would you regret it for the rest of your life if you don't try? So if the answer is yes, that's your answer, isn't it? It is scary. It's hard to get over the hurdle, right? But coming here is the hardest thing. It's the hardest part, abandoning the life you've known up till now. But once you do it, you did it. You know, a lot of people try to talk themselves out of it now, and they'll be like, oh, what if I hate it? What if the job sucks? What if I shouldn't have done it? Okay, maybe, but these are all maybes, right? You won't know till you try. And you can always move back. It's not permanent. You don't have to permanently move here. You could come for a year and go back. It's fine. Tons of people do this. It is nothing to be embarrassed about. It's very normal. But I will promise you, you probably won't regret at least trying, because you acted on that one, yes, I have the desire to move to Japan. And acting on that thought is a lot farther than most people make it. Trust me, you don't need to move to Japan or anywhere forever. Even the people who move back after like a year or two, I'd say like 95% of them are very glad they went to Japan and they don't regret it. And if anything, from watching the Facebook groups I'm in, a lot of people regret going back. So yes, I did escape to Japan to live a more exciting life, to follow my dreams. But I also moved here to challenge myself, to grow, and honestly, to feel more comfortable. I really do like it here. I really like living here. I don't like everything. Trust me. There are a lot of hard parts. There's a lot of challenges, but for me, at least right now, the good outweighs the bad. So if you made it to the end, thank you. My mother's birthday is coming up, so please comment, happy birthday, Diane. And that way I'll know that you made it to the end and you are a loyal Ali fan. Okay. Also, please write down below what are your reasons for wanting to move to Japan or not. It's fine either way, honestly. And please like the video, subscribe to my channel for more content about my life here in Japan, and I'll see you guys back here again soon, hopefully. Please don't let me get sick anymore. Ah!